What's going on, everybody? Today is Manwan Monday. That's right, Manwan. It is October
Wow.
14th, 2024. We are here to discuss the latest episode of Survivor 47. That's episode 4. Is that blood in your hair?
Oh my god.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, wow.
All right, my name is John Dunphy. I'm joined, as always, by my fellow tribe mates, Miss Gina Morgino, Mr. Mikey Mormon, and Mr. Kyle Petty Basal. We are Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Find us on the socials at Strat Chat Pod. All right, well, let's talk about this episode. I guess, Mikey, we haven't had you the last 2 chats we've had about Survivor.
Yeah,
right? You've been traveling the world.
I was traveling both days. I was on a plane. I guess at that point I would have been on a plane last week from LA to New York, and the week before that I was on the bullet train from Tokyo to Osaka in Japan.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Osaka.
A busy
We're glad to have you back, huh?
I'm glad to
have you
be back. Glad to talk
Stateside,
some
yeah.
survival.
Definitely.
Survival.
So obviously, I know you've been watching. So
Yes.
over the last couple of weeks, you haven't been with us, but do you have any thoughts that you want to share about what's been going on out there on the island?
Sure. Yeah, I'm digging the season so far. I find that these people are really interesting. I don't know that I'm in love with any of them individually, but I think they work together really nicely as a group in a way that's really entertaining. I've really been digging the challenges this season so far. I feel like they kind of upped their game a little bit. There's still basic structure that we recognize, but there seems to be some newer stuff, and they seems like they are taking feedback, which is nice to see. All new puzzles, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm liking the cast. I'm feeling good about my team. I'm feeling like I got 4 pretty strong players. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Excellent. And how do you like the fact that, unlike prior seasons recently, rather than just being a steamroll, each tribe has lost and gone to tribal council already?
I think that's part of what's making this season work for me, is that we're not getting that just all right, we're going to see the same tribe and then we're going to get them down to 3 and then it's going to be so all of a sudden now it works because it is doing the one tribe, then the other tribe, then the next tribe, then a different tribe, then another. So it's it just it feels more like a game. It feels like the stakes are there instead of just feeling like an absolute steamroll situation. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. All right, well, let's talk about episode 4 here. So obviously last time Gina unfortunately took a hit. I did feel for her a lot here with Asia going home, because you guys know that since before the season started, well before the season started, I was diehard ready to take on John Lovett on my team. Gina was ready to take Asia on her team. And so for both of them to be gone already is a real
tough. It's real tough.
A real bummer, yeah.
But those conversations in Ponderosa were mad good.
It's not good for the podcasters out there. It is it's tough.
Yeah, right.
And that's why none of us will be applying. Thank you. Thank you.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. So coming back from that tribal, though, we saw Asia get voted out. One of the first things that we saw was Teeny owning up to the fact that they voted for Soul in that tribal council. And it's funny because Gina and I, the last time that we talked about Survivor, we're really praising Teeny. It seems like Teeny's very good with persuading people to do what they want, the way that they got Rome to switch up from targeting. Who was Rome targeting initially?
No, not Genevieve.
Soul.
No, it was Asia.
And
Teeny was trying to wait.
It was
trying to get him to pivot.
And they switched it to Asia, right?
I thought it was the other way around. I thought they were trying to get.
Well, in either case,
off of Asia. I don't remember. It feels like years ago.
In either case, Rome, who has had all the power and has been calling all the shots at the Lavo tribe, Teeny was pretty quickly able to convince him to like change the target up. Teeny was also able to talk their way out of like any sort of trouble with Rome after Rome found out that Teeny had immediately shared the fact that that Rome had an advantage and showed Kishan, and yet somehow Teeny was in no trouble after this, like was able. So we were
It's
talking
really
about
crazy
that.
that they recovered from that. Like,
Right.
insane.
But basically, like, what did you think about Teeny owning up so quickly to the fact that they voted for Soul here? Like, because that I actually felt was a mistake, to be honest.
Oh,
Like,
you
I don't think
think?
that you
I don't
necessarily had to
know
do that.
because I think the tribes are so small that the math is going to get done one way or another. And then rather than Soul have this like, well, Teeny voted for me, so I'm going to vote for her mindset. I think the fact that she owned up to that, especially with a guy like him specifically, there's some other people where it might not make a difference, but Soul seems to be a pretty like reasonable like chill kind of guy. So the fact that they were able to like go in there and kind of mend that bridge before it like really broke, I
Mm.
think that move made sense.
Yeah. You're probably right.
I mean, time will tell, you know?
Yeah. I guess I just get nervous. I like Teeny a lot, and I feel like if you keep doing too many sort of sneaky things, especially when you're owning up to them, are people going to start to find you untrustworthy at some point? Like, oh, there comes Teeny again.
Yeah.
There is definitely a possibility where Teeny can very easily become very messy very quickly. Like, they are teetering that line a little too closely for my liking.
Right. That's really where I'm finding them at this point. And like, unless we kind of retool ourselves when we get to merge, I think I'd be kind of like, I don't know, handling Teeny with like a 6-foot pole.
It sucks because they're my favorite person on the show right now. Like, I really, really love Teeny. I
Oh.
really, really want
I
them to
do.
do well,
It's
but I'm getting
also
nervous.
I think it's important to remember though that anything they do is going to be completely overshadowed by Rome just as a person because Rome is
Yeah.
so much that
Ugh,
like all eyes are over there. Eyes are not on Teeny
that's fair.
because
Yeah.
they're
No,
on
very fair.
Rome and they're on Seoul, and so I think they have time to sort of like work a little bit within this group of people before they have to like tone it down once the merge comes around.
Yeah.
Mm.
I just have to say too that I cannot stand Rome.
Not at all.
He's so
Not at
grating.
all.
Oh
Just
my god.
awful.
doesn't-
I'm so embarrassed.
It doesn't seem like anyone can on that beach, to be
No.
honest.
How could
So,
you? Like,
Oh,
what is the redeeming quality other than the fact that you are putting yourself out there as a larger annoyance and threat than me? That's the only thing to enjoy about his presence on this beach.
Yeah.
It's just
no,
like
that's
top to bottom, between like following him around and the threat that was maybe just an ultimatum but also a threat, like the soul of it all was freaking insane this
Bro.
episode.
I'm sorry.
I was like, my guy, what are you doing?
I also have to say that like an ultimatum is a threat.
Literally,
you're
that's-
literally-
it's the same thing.
Why
I
are we arguing
understand.
semantics
that-
right now?
Yeah, you're
Hands
literally
down.
telling someone that if you don't do this, this will happen. You're threatening me. You're threatening
Also,
me right
like,
now.
Mhm.
dude,
Like-
Soul has the patience of a saint.
Ugh.
The fact that he was able to do that and not just like punch that man square in the face is truly a testament to the kind of person Soul is. So good
Yeah.
on him because
I totally
I
agree
don't
with
know
that. It made me
how.
like him so much more.
oh, absolutely.
I didn't really care about Soul one way or the other, like before this, but now it's like, okay, I like you.
because there are certain
Yeah.
people that Rome would have found out. Like he fucked around, he would
Oh,
have
yeah.
found out. Soul was able to, you know.
It's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's yeah.
Yeah, so Lavo Tribe has been interesting. But over at Gata, it's been pretty interesting too. I feel like Sierra is kind of in the middle, right? Because Sierra's been working obviously super closely with Sam, and now Andy because Sam has pulled Andy in. But then you also have Annika and Rachel, right, on that tribe, and Sierra's kind of been the one that's in the middle. Um, so, what do you think of this breadwinners alliance that Sierra has formed with Annika and Rachel? I liked it, And then as soon as Sierra decided that Andy was the one that she was going to tell this about, like I didn't understand that. But I guess just what do you think about the alliance itself?
I don't trust it. I have a feeling that Sierra is gonna swing towards Andy and Sam, and just I think this thing is gonna crumble.
I don't believe in the Breadwinners Alliance, but I also don't believe that that's how it will fall.
Mm.
Or maybe it could, but the intention behind it would not be Andy and Sam. It's really just Sam.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah, like I just don't want to lump Andy in that because
That's
Andy
fair. Yeah.
is really viewed as a complete disaster, and like I'm not seeing anything that convinces me otherwise. Like there are certain glimpses of like, oh, okay, maybe you'll maneuver around this situation, but he's still not somebody that I want to put like align my game with.
Yeah. We could be looking at an Emily situation with him too, where like fumbling towards the beginning and like sort of figuring your shit out and like almost sort of like using the person you were at the beginning of the game to further yourself in the game, because
That's what I'm hoping is the
Mhm.
Emily,
case.
if I'm remembering right, like Emily could have gone further in the game. She got out because of a bunch of like advantages or like an idol being played, right? It wasn't like she wasn't a target that night. I don't think.
It
It was
feels
a-
like a million
feels
years
like
ago.
it was 1,000 years ago.
I
But if I'm
know.
remembering right, she wasn't the initial target that night, and like her game was on a good trajectory. And I think there's a possibility, however small, that Andy could have that same sort of path.
I can see that.
I could see it too.
Yeah.
I just it would be too soon to hitch my wagon to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
that's fair.
trust him.
Oh,
at all,
absolutely,
still. Like, he's got to
absolutely.
I
do.
need to
Yeah,
see more. I need to see more.
because
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Gina.
No, I was gonna say like my whole issue with like the breadwinners thing in general was like, I mean, one, Andy of all people is not the person to have this conversation with. However, if you're gonna have the conversation, and this is something that we see not even just in Survivor in other seasons, but like we've seen this in Big Brother, we've seen this in plenty of other places. If you're trusting somebody with information about people that you are aligned with, the one thing you should never do is drop the name. Because if you're just saying, yeah, here's the people I feel comfortable with, here's the people that I'm working with, and that information gets out, you have at least a little bit of plausible deniability where you can say, oh no, like
Mm.
they just kind of clocked it on their own. I said that I feel comfortable with them. I didn't say we're an alliance, blah, 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 blah. The second that somebody says, I know that that this person is working with these other people, this is the name of their alliance, there is now no way that you can backtrack on that, because if you know the name, you heard it from somebody. You didn't just
Yeah.
happen to
Right.
see them together and
Mhm.
assume an alliance. If you have the information of this is what these people are called, you're dead in the water. So she really
Yes.
screwed herself by being like, I'm in the Breadwinners Alliance with so and so. It's like, I don't know why you would drop the name. There's
Yeah,
no benefit.
Right. Why would you drop the name and tell Andy before you told Sam?
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's the part
Yeah.
of it that like really gets you. You want to tell Andy like fine because it makes you feel like you may have drawn you closer or something because you've trusted him a little bit. But like you can't do that before you told Sam.
Yeah.
Who you
Right.
already said that I want to be playing this game with you.
Right. And that was sloppy on Sierra. This is what's funny to me is that earlier in the episode, we literally were seeing Sierra talk about how sloppy Andy was and that she didn't know if she wanted to work with him. And then she chose to tell him about the Breadwinners Alliance before she told Sam, which
Right.
was maybe sloppier than anything Andy's done all season.
Sure. Yeah.
So, but I do wonder, like, if this is going to be bad for Andy in a way, because, like, all right, Sierra shared this information about the breadwinners with Andy. Andy said he wouldn't say anything. Now he goes and tells Sam, and Sam questions Sierra about it, right? So now, does this now make Sierra say, all right, well, you know what? Then I'm going to go all in on the breadwinners. We have the majority in this alliance right now. So we'll get Andy out, and now Sam has nothing to do except work with us because we have all the power. It's unless he gets an idol. It's 3-on-1.
Mm.
Like, I feel like it was not a smart move by Sierra, but in a way it makes me feel like, all right, does it screw Andy more than it even screws her, because Andy now has outed himself as untrustworthy to Sierra, and like Andy was already trying to repair his game. You had two allies; they were Sam and Sierra, and you just pissed Sierra
Yeah.
off. Like,
Yeah. I also just to like go back about like the sloppiness of the situation. At the very least, Andy's sloppiness probably saved his life in the game, because if he had not had the breakdown the way that he had the breakdown, I think he was first out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he was like an easy
I-
first vote until there was like
You
So what
could
are you
be
trying to
drama
say
around
here,
the
though? Are
vote.
you trying to throw respect on the man's
No,
game?
I'm just saying that like Andy's sloppiness probably saved his life.
Yeah,
in the
no, it's
game.
just
Okay.
Whereas like
purely
I
by
don't.
I'm just
chance.
questioning your
By chance.
what
No.
you thought the intention was behind it. Just
I also just want to say like, is it too early in the game to name your alliance of
Yes.
3 people?
I
You know
think
what
so.
I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
In
That
a
felt
game like this where
crazy
you're
to
so
me.
fractured, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this was like a 2-tribe thing, I would say maybe not. You
Mm.
know, because like having a smaller group like that going into merge could actually be very powerful. And with each tribal you don't go, your numbers are more and more of a threat.
Mm.
But at this stage, you haven't even really met everybody else yet. So
Yeah.
like, yeah,
That
I
felt
think it's way
that
too
felt
early.
odd to me. I don't know. I also just like, yeah, I don't know. I just
Mm.
that like felt like a nail in a coffin for me. Like it
Mhm.
was just like you're too much too soon on this. I thought personally.
Yeah, I guess I'd be curious to see how many other like alliances have had an actual name at this early stage. You know, like I wonder if anybody has done that. Not that I can remember.
I don't know.
Matt's a big fan.
But all right, so we've gotten into Lavo and Gata a little bit, but let's get into Tuku. So really, all I want to talk about here is Sue.
Oof.
Number one, what do we think about the fact that Sue is 58 but telling everyone she's 45? Because I got to be honest, and I love Sue, but I don't know if I would believe her if she walked up to me and told me that she was 45.
I just don't see why. That to me isn't a lie that matters.
Right?
It's like what is the cement? I don't understand the point of that personally.
Like, what does that difference of years do for you?
Right. What I will say is like as far as like looking 45 versus 50, what is she actually 58?
She's 58, yeah.
As far as like that goes, like on a beach where like no one's wearing makeup and like you're hungry and exhausted and
Yeah,
you're
fuck, I know.
like I just like maybe it's like an easier sell in that context. Whereas like if she came up to me on the streets of New York City and was like, "Hey, I'm 45," I'd be like, "No, you're not." But like I think out there like I think it's an easier sell. I don't think it matters though because she's still clearly on the older side of
Yeah, I don't think it
That's
matters
Yeah, I don't
either.
see what the
what
point
is
of
that
was.
what is
Yeah.
that 13 years buying you in this
Right.
situation? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it matters either. It's just weird, and I feel like it's.
It's odd.
I don't know.
I think she thinks that it gains her a little bit more trust with people because like, you know, people typically like to get the old people out. So if I'm only older than you by X amount of years instead of this many years, maybe it gives her a little bit more, makes her feel like she's a little bit more secure. I don't know that she really is, but I think that only speaks to the fact that she's a little bit more insecure about her age and she's letting us know. And that's why she feels like she needs to lie.
Maybe.
I would argue though that in the recent seasons of Survivor, the older women specifically have gone far in the game. Generally
Yeah.
speaking,
Right. I think that's
Really
why
well-
it speaks more to her
Yeah.
own personal like insecurities than
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how it actually would affect her in the game.
Yeah,
Right.
because
I
I mean, like
totally agree.
we saw Julie go far and have like legitimate winner, could
Yeah.
have legitimately won the game in the right circumstances.
Mhm.
There was oh god, season 41. I don't remember her name, but she was another older woman that was like she was merged. She was there for a while, and I think she was like in the top, like at least in the top 7, maybe 6. But like it's just like I don't think it was a necessary move, and I think it only could. The only thing it could really do, like if someone were to find out like she's been lying about this, is like sort of so like doubt in everything she says because now it's
Yeah,
like, oh,
now
you're
you're
lying
not
about this.
sure.
What else are you lying about? You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
thing.
Because we even saw Caroline in Australia go to the end. But I don't
Yeah.
think people
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
much about that. If you can
Especially
show
not
me
in-
how you can add value to my game, I don't give a damn how old you are.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
you have value even if you're an expendable person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was unnecessary for Sue to lie about the age, but I do feel like I get it. I think Kyle was mentioned, like, kind of mentioning this earlier too. I think that Sue is just in her own head and thinks that if I say I'm 58, like maybe she feels like her tribe is looking more at strength. And every year you tack on to my age is them thinking I'm weaker and weaker. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
so if all they think is that I'm 45, they have no proof otherwise. And 45 sounds a lot better than almost 60 or whatever. Not that it should matter, because I feel like we've seen some great players that were older.
Yeah.
But she seems to just think that her, maybe biggest flaw is her age, but that's necessarily true.
You can do anything, even if you're old.
Thank you, Mikey.
You're welcome. Even if you're on the brink of death, you can still win Survivor.
You can do anything, even if you're old. Mikey Marvin, 2024.
Thank you, as I am on the cusp of 40. Happy to hear it. I can still accomplish great things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, obviously, we have to talk about Sue finding this immunity idol, right? So, okay. So, yeah, this was pretty wild, right? So she She finds a Beware advantage. And this Beware advantage took her on a hunt to a tree with a rope, which she had to cut. She chopped the rope, a coconut fell and broke, and it splashed red paint all over.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
This red
They said
paint, it was
sabotage.
everywhere. And like even the scroll that she had to open to read was just dripping with red paint.
Those producers said "fuck you" in particular.
Yeah. She finds this idol. She says it looks like there's blood everywhere. She's doing everything she can to clean this mess up, like burying it in sand, going to the water well, trying to clean her own hands. But she forgot her chin, which how you have no mirror, so how could you possibly think that I have to clean my chin off? I guess she had some in her hair, but I think the biggest thing to me was like not only did the splatter all over the sand on the ground below it, but like plants nearby had red splatter all over it. Like, what do you do? Like, this is so like, and I feel like I loved this too because like, all right, other people will have like found clues, right? And they're like, all right, I have to go and look. This clue that I have is telling me I have to go and dig over here, so I can plan to go and dig when no one's around in that spot. But here it's like, okay, just cut this rope. So you cut the rope, and now there's red paint everywhere, and it's like, all right, I don't know if anybody's about to go to the water well to fill up their bottle. I don't know what anybody's doing. Are they looking for firewood? Are they doing this? And now you just have to, like, by the seat of your pants, be like, how do I clean this as fast as possible?
And I'll be damned if I just leave this here with somebody else. I have to take it. This is a fantastic twist, in my opinion.
I loved it.
Because it's like, it really is. Like, I don't personally know what I would have done in that situation. Like, blood is literally the only option. And she had the machete there, but it's like at that point, it's like, do I just like make a cut? You know what I mean?
Oh my god!
Because then they're like, well, where are you? Because then they were asking her like, where are you?
Like, where are you bleeding?
She's like, oh no, don't worry, I was just playing around with the machete. It was like, what does that mean?
That was the problem. Is like she did such a good job. She did such a good job of like covering up her surroundings. Like she really did clean it up really, really well. But then like people saw her and they're like, oh, like you had a little something on your chin, and she's like, oh no, I didn't cut myself. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I didn't do anything. And it's like, well. Now, just say like, oh yeah, I sliced my chin a little bit. Yeah, I got like a little scraped up. I fell. Oops, weird thing. Like just like cover it up a little. But she immediately was like, no, but I didn't fall. I didn't hurt myself.
But then you can't say you cut your chin because there's no cut on your chin.
I know.
There weren't. I don't know. I feel like you could say it like kind of. I don't know. There was a world.
But I think that also plays into her own insecurity with she doesn't want other people to see her as weak. So I'm already concerned that people are going to think that I'm too old to compete. I now don't want to layer onto this and say like now I'm injured so that I have even less value. Like
it looked so much more suspicious for her to be like, I'm not hurt.
I know. It did. No, she didn't do it right. I'm not saying she did it right, but like I understood the challenge she was faced with.
I get it.
I know. I'm taking the machete to the ear, just chop it off.
God, not chop
it off. For an idol that you might not get to use
for $1 million.
Can you imagine? I go home with the idol in my pocket and
no
right ear. Like I really lost.
Ear.
if someone comes up to me with a machete and says, "Chop your ear off, and I'll give you $1 million," I'm
He's like,
not even hesitating. It's gone, and no
Yeah,
more ear on my
that's a
head.
completely different conversation, though, when we know we won. Like, this is very early. She didn't even meet everybody else yet. They were on different boats.
It's like,
She
yeah,
only saw them
listen,
in the hotel at the Marriott before they set sail.
could you imagine? Like, yeah, I chopped my ear off to get this idol in Survivor. I went home the next week, but at least I got
I
the
know.
idol.
They'll probably
I went home
save
with the
the
I
idol
have
in
ear.
my
something to
pocket, but I
remember it
got
all
it.
by.
You can sew that shit back on. Come on.
What?
Oh my god! Oh my
They got a
god!
doctor on set.
Ah, well,
I'm really concerned for how you respect your own life when you say
yeah.
things like this. Like, what are you out there doing? Like, are you good? Like,
Yeah,
just to watch
great.
you.
I'm great. I'm doing good,
Wow. Well, Sue got the idol, but Tiana is now looking at Sue. Tiana, she was smelling some BS with what the story Sue was given. So we'll see what happens with that.
Tiana is always like,
Yeah, yeah. She's very observant.
yeah,
Very
I
observant.
like her. I like her. She's
I like
gonna be,
Tiana too. Yeah,
it's gonna be a lot of
My
fun.
first
Yeah.
pick, baby.
yeah, she's
Yeah, I
great.
like her. Oh, was she? I didn't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
I like her.
I'm hoping to see more of her. She has been sort of like on the. It looks like next week we're getting some Tiana content. I'm
Okay,
looking forward to it.
I enjoy
Nice.
her. Yeah.
I like it. Over at Gata, we head back to the Gata camp where Andy continues to be a mess. Apparently, he does not close his bag or care about his things very much,
Oh god.
and he lost his shot in the dark.
I forgot about this.
Andy.
Oh man!
And
poor
this
guy.
is really where what we were talking about with Sierra before. This is where this was all happening. So this guy has already had a meltdown. He's losing his shot in the dark. Sierra is talking about how like just fed up and frustrated she is with how sloppy Andy is. And then this is where she decides, oh, I'm going to tell him about this alliance I'm in. Like,
Crazy.
so yeah, so that's basically what was going on at Gata. But that took us into our immunity challenge. So in this one, the three tribes had to roll a heavy metal cube down a path to a beanbag
A
toss.
beanbag.
Yeah, it's a beanbag toss. They'd have to push it through a
Beanbag
stacked
test.
frame. Yeah. They'd have to throw these beanbags through a stacked frame and then finish the race with a puzzle. The first tribe to finish would not only earn immunity, but would earn 3 live egg-laying hens. Okay, the second place tribe would not only earn immunity, but would get 6 eggs from said egg-laying hens. So yeah, did you like this challenge? I thought this was a pretty good one.
I did. This was an entertaining one. I
Yeah.
liked the big box. I thought that was fun, and I was like, it felt like it was going to land on someone's foot every time they did it, which was
It
horrifying.
was stressing me out.
But it was interesting. It was something a little different than what we've been seeing recently, which was nice. I really liked the beanbag thing where you had, but like it didn't count if you knocked it over. I thought
If you
that was
knocked it over, yeah, I like that
I thought
too.
that was cool.
I like
And
that too.
puzzle situation with Rome really doing his best, doing his darndest at the end.
Yeah,
there.
God.
so we got to talk about this a little bit because so Gata ended up winning, right? They came in first place. They get immunity and the hens. Tuku came in second, immunity and some eggs. How do you not get a single piece in this puzzle? From everything that was said, we didn't see any confessionals off to the side. But like, there's a part of me that was waiting for Rome to show up and be like, "Oh, like I won Soul out, so I threw this." But like, we got no indication of that at all in the episode. So I'm like, is Rome actually just? Because I remember last episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago, Rome literally telling Soul that he was not allowed to do a solo part of a challenge because Rome knew he would be good at it, and if Soul screwed it up, he'd be really angry. And now you see Rome here just sitting there. Not getting a single piece on this puzzle, and you have the audacity to tell other people they can't do parts of challenges because you think you'll be the best at it.
I sincerely hope he was throwing it, because if it went that whole time that he didn't get a piece and he just wasn't switching out with somebody else, like for his own ego, like at what point do you say, you know what, I can't do this, I need to tag team out with somebody.
Right.
Like, I
Also, like,
sincerely hope he was thrown
That's
there.
what made it feel intentional. The fact
Yeah.
that, like, if you really
He
wanted your team
refused.
to win, you would have stepped out. You know.
Yeah.
And not
And
for
that's-
nothing, but
yeah.
like, Genevieve was also doing nothing. Like, she could have pushed him out of the way. She was there already.
She was just
Right,
handing
right.
him pieces, and he was like, nah,
Like, dude,
nah.
do something. My God, at least get one piece, even if you're throwing it. Because like, that's my thing though. Is like, if they were throwing it, they would have gotten a piece and then like struggled to find it. They just got nothing.
Mhm.
Not one piece is crazy. And like, you
Yeah.
have Skull there the whole time being like, please let me switch it. Like he's like asking,
Yeah.
like, begging. Like I don't know. He's just like, this man is just not a team player in any sense
No,
of the
not at
word. And
all.
you need at this point in the game, you need to be a team player. No one is going to be looking at Rome if Rome somehow were to make it to the end of the game, no one is standing there looking at him going, "Oh, that is someone that I want to give $1 million to."
Right.
It's just like you have to be that kind of person, or you have to play an undeniably excellent game. It's one or the two.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I can't. I don't get it.
Yeah. And just
I
the
don't
fact,
get it.
like, and that's what's weird to me is that like I said, I was expecting a confessional with some kind of explanation, and the
Yeah.
fact that we didn't get that makes me feel like were Rome and Genevieve really just that bad at this puzzle? Like, can that even be possible? Like, I don't.
It did make me laugh because then like the next like when Jeff did the commercial of like come apply to be on Survivor, he was like boop boop and immediately popped the piece in and he was like, if you think you can be better than this, you should apply. And I was like, drag them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't. I didn't get the
Yeah.
feeling they were just because like they would have. I feel like they would have had some sort of confessional, and also
Right.
in the confessionals, it wasn't like there was he. They did say like, "Oh, I screwed that up." Like
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
Yeah.
Rome was like, "Oh, it's so embarrassing. I'm going to go home and watch this with my family, and they're going to see me not get a single piece on this
Yeah.
puzzle." And I'm like, you know what? Then you should not be telling everybody that you have to do the solo part of
Yeah,
these
you shouldn't be the
challenges.
puzzle
Like,
guy
yeah,
then.
like,
Also, like, yeah, no, I can't stand this man. I want him gone immediately.
I know.
It's so grating.
I need him out.
It would have been so great if we had gotten this episode, and we might have if it wasn't for Genevieve, but we'll get there. So at the end of this challenge, we found out from Jeff that there was a New Journey. I almost said New Jersey. I'm going.
John just found out about New Jersey.
I'm going there. I'm going there tomorrow, so maybe that's
Oh,
why
I'm
I said
sorry.
it.
Did you guys know there's a New
Yeah.
Jersey?
But no, so Jeff told us about a new journey that that some of our tribe mates would be going on.
Yeah, the
This-
beanbag toss is in New Jersey.
Yeah, the beanbag toss in New Jersey. Yeah, so Gata got to choose who went on this journey. From their own tribe, they chose Andy. From Lavo, they chose Teeny, and from Tuku, they chose Caroline. So that's who would be going on the journey. I guess we should just talk about the journey now. So on this journey, we found out that one of these three people had to agree to lose their vote for the next tribal council. If they could not come to an agreement, all three of them would lose their vote and no one would get an advantage. If they could agree on someone to lose their vote, then that person would lose their vote, but the other two would keep their vote, and all three of them would receive this amulet idol. Now, the idol itself is interesting. So if it's all three of them in the game, so basically they have to wait till merge, right? Because they all have to be on the same beach in the game together to actually use this thing. But they all also have to like agree on who to use it on, right? So like if there's three of them still there and they want to save one person, they all have to agree that they're going to play this idol and save that one person. Is that how this works, right?
Yes.
If there's two people, it's the same thing. If it's one person, obviously they just have a full idol on their own, right? So I mean, could be interesting later on, but right now I feel like it basically means nothing, right? It's funny because what we got here was, they all kind of got to know each other a little bit. But if I was Teeny, I'd be pissed because Teeny was the one that would have to go to tribal council following this last daily immunity challenge. And yet Caroline and Andy were having none of this. They did not want to give up their votes. So it was Teeny, which was weird to me because I get it. You don't want to lose your vote, but you're not going to tribal tonight, and like you can get something out of this. Whereas now you're sitting there and you're going to force the person who's actually going to tribal to have to be the one to give up their vote. If I was Teeny, I would feel some kind of way and be like, you know what? As soon as we get to merge, I'm going to get you out, because even if I can just get one of you out, I have more power with this amulet idol.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I will say is that while like from the outside, it wasn't like they should have been able to like come up with one of the other ones. I think this probably was best case scenario for all three of them, because Teeny lost her vote for one day for one tribal because she was in tribal that night. It could have ended up that one of the other two didn't go to tribal again till merge, and then they don't have their vote in that first merge tribal. You know, like it could have ended, and like so Teeny again now has her vote back. What happened to be in a good enough position within her tribe that she didn't even need to worry about any of it, because she wasn't there for the conversation. She didn't have a vote, and she's still sitting pretty, or they're still sitting pretty. But yeah, no. So I mean, like while like I would be mad that they didn't offer to not be the one to be the one that, I think it kind of worked out as best as it really could have, because and at the end of the day, Teeny was either going to tribal once it came down to it to like make the decision time. Teeny was either going to tribal without a vote and no advantage, or without a vote and an advantage coming their way. So it feels like best case scenario for me, honestly.
Yeah, no, I see that. I see that side of it. I guess if I'm just Teeny, and all three of them, let's say Caroline, Andy, and Teeny, make it to merge, and now it's time to use this. I feel like if I'm Teeny, I might be a little skeptical that you're going to go along with this, because you both knew I was going to tribal council and you made me give up my votes that we could all get this advantage together. And I feel like, what's to say you're not going to do that to me again in the future? It's like, oh, we can all use this, but are you going to force me to use this at a time when I don't want to, where it benefits one of you over me? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it was the best way to build trust with Teeny, where it's like, all right, because Andy's talking about like, oh, us sharing this idol, this amulet idol, is a chance for peace and collaboration. It's like, all right, well, if you really wanted peace and collaboration, you would have made sure I had a vote on my way back to camp as I go to tribal. Yeah, like, so I don't know.
I also think like these idols, I mean, the last time we saw this, that amulet idol with Austin, it put him on a path of destruction, and he ended up being the last one in the game that had that amulet idol. So yeah, I mean, it could go either way. It would be. I feel like the situation in which all three of them would be, like, gunning for the same person is very. I don't know if that's a situation that we're gonna see. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Hard to say.
Hard to say indeed. Just a question for the group here. Obviously, like we said, Gata, they won immunity in this immunity challenge, so they got some chickens, and there was some disagreement about what to do with the chickens. Do we kill them and eat the meat, or do we save them to lay eggs for us and have food from them continually? Because Sierra loves chickens. What would you guys want to do? Would you want to kill the chicken and eat it, or would you want to save the chicken?
So like,
I would save the chicken.
So like, here's the thing. Like, logically, it makes more sense to save the chicken, continue to eat eggs. However, man, the idea of some like grilled chicken, I'm sure, on that beach is probably so nice. Like, you're just like sitting there being like, oh, I could have meat. You know, I would be, chicken is like my favorite food. It would be hard for me to not want to, but also at the same time, I'm not trying to kill the chicken myself, and I'm also not trying to like pluck the feathers and carve it up. I don't fucking know how to do any of that shit.
Right. I don't want to do it. I don't want to look at it. And it's like, and I would almost feel bad having it because I did not contribute to this experience. I definitely could not be hands-on for any of this. So I just leave it alone. I'll just wait.
I think I feel like scrambled eggs is the way to go, personally.
Oh yeah.
Because like you're really you're out there for less than a month.
Yeah, as tempting as chicken would be in that situation, I would stick with the eggs.
And you'll
Yeah.
have them consistently, at least fairly consistently.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Until the chickens stop laying eggs, and then they've outlived their usefulness, and it's time to go.
Right. That's a whole
And
different
then you can eat the
conversation.
chicken. Yeah.
You might as
Exactly.
yeah.
I did also laugh at, was it Sam was the one who was like, yeah, I don't know, like I was really down to kill this chicken, but they were all like, I don't know, let's get more eggs to hatch. And I was like, Sam, I don't want to be the one to tell you that like they're not trying to hatch the eggs into more chickens. They're
Did he
going to
say
eat
that?
them, my love. Yeah. He was like, yeah, it's kind of like you hatch some eggs. I was like, baby, they're going to eat the eggs. They're not
I
going
missed
to hatch
that.
them.
Oh, that's funny. Oh man, that's good.
Oh, Sam.
Oh,
Um, but okay, so we're gonna live with Lavo here the rest of the episode pretty much because we had a lot of action going on over there, right? Teeny comes back from the journey. Um, I think I think that they told everybody right away that they had lost their vote, right? Teeny told
Yeah.
right away, um, and they also mentioned about the amulet only to Genevieve and Kishan, right?
Mhm.
I don't think they told the amulet about to anybody else. But so here's what everything we had going on at this point, right? Rome is talking about stealing Soul's vote. He would not leave Soul alone for a single second during this episode, which like I get it, it's Survivor. Like I know you want to keep people from finding idols and stuff, but like I just don't think how Rome thinks this is a sustainable way to play the game. If he wants to make it past this part of the game, get to merge, like, do you think you're going to be able to treat everybody this way? Like,
It
so,
would have
like,
driven me insane.
yeah. So you've got Rome just following Soul around everywhere, not giving him a single second of peace to himself as a human being, just a moment to breathe. Like, and you've got Rome telling everybody that he wants to steal Soul's vote with his steal a vote. That way, he can keep him from using his shot in the dark. Because in order to play your shot in the dark, you need to have a vote. Um, this is where we had the whole ultimatum thing, where Soul is saying you're threatening me, and Rome is saying it's not a threat, it's an ultimatum, which is literally a threat.
Same thing.
Um, but we also see that some cracks here. So Kishan is clearly fed up with Rome, right? Saying Rome is playing this chaotic game. He's tired of it. It's all about Rome and the show that he wants to put on. So Kishan talks to Genevieve about possibly flipping the vote onto Rome to get him out. Kishan's only problem is that earlier he told Rome that they should tell Soul that they're all voting Genevieve out. And Rome used this to his advantage to say, hey, Genevieve, just so you know, Kishan was throwing your name out there. So I don't know. I guess what do you think about all this craziness, right? Because it leads to eventually Genevieve telling Rome about Kishan saying his name, and then Rome actually feels the need to apologize to Soul to make sure they get him on board so that they can get Kishan out. There's a lot of craziness going on with Lavo right now.
I think it's bad play by Genevieve personally. I think she got all up like at the end of the day they needed to tell Soul a name, and Kashan and Rome are not going to tell him their own names. So like if you're she has so little trust in her alliances that she couldn't just like set that aside for this one vote. And like I don't know, I don't really like either her or Rome at this point. And I mean, Kashan was trying to make a move that was going to not only that was going to like like vastly improve like life on the beach, because like there are sometimes you vote for strength, sometimes you vote for strategy, and sometimes you vote just because like getting that person out of the game is going to
Of
make
mind.
everybody
Yeah.
else happier. And that was what Kashan was like really going for, or that's what the Rome vote would have been. So I don't know. I think they, yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
don't like it.
I agree. I guess I wish. I mean, I guess it's hard to say when you're not in the game, right? And you don't know what conversations they're having. But like, I guess I wish that Kishan had thought far enough ahead when he was going to Genevieve with this plan to try to flip the vote on Rome. Be like, hey, just so you know, also, like, Rome was talking about the best way to get Soul out, and we were talking about maybe throwing Soul a decoy name just to make him comfortable, and your name came up. Like, I guess I wish that he had thought far enough ahead to throw that out there, because that was the only loose end, like the fact that he had mentioned her name when she wasn't around, and it's like, if she had even been there for that conversation, right? Like, to be there to be like, hey, like, who should we tell Soul? Oh, Genevieve, like, do you mind if we say your name? Like, if she had even just been there for that moment, it might have put her at ease. But when you have Rome coming to you and saying like, oh, Kishan said your name with no other context, I can see why Genevieve would do what she did. So it's just too bad, or maybe not too bad, because maybe now this sets up a whole other branch of the timeline, right, where things are going to get even crazier. So
yeah, I have to say, I think I dissent with a lot of the opinions stated regarding Genevieve's actions here, because I very much wanted to see Rome go. But at the same time, if I am Genevieve and I hear that you have thrown my name out there, I think we've been pretty vocal on this podcast talking about the fact that if you think you're in an alliance and somebody throws your name out there, either to be a pawn or whatever it is, that means they do see you as at least a little bit more disposable than other people, because you don't really care then if I go. If it's coming down to one or the other and you put my name up, that means you're not really that concerned if I go. So I can't align myself in this game with you because you didn't even tell me that you were the one that kind of helped put my name out there. If you had come to me with this first and said like, hey, this is what it was, or like John said, you were part of the conversation, I could maybe see it a little bit differently. But when you're talking about somebody who has been so outlandish and out there like Rome, if you are the one that are coming back here and telling me that these things happened, and there's really no scenario where I will really ever be a bigger target than you at this stage of the game where numbers are so small, I might align myself with you. Not because I like you. Yeah, the tribe would be happier with you, but I don't really care how happy we are in 20 days because we're going to be out of here. So I'm trying to win this money.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I can suck it up with you for a little bit longer because I still know you're going to go, or you should go before me. And I can maybe use that to my advantage. I'm not aligning myself with you for the long term. This is for today.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that, Kyle. And I feel like, to even like just piggyback onto it, like, I could totally see Genevieve looking at this like, all right, I wanted Rome out, but you know what? If I think about this
I can
long
wait.
term, yeah, if I think about this long term, there is no way that a player like Rome is going to survive in this game. Like,
Yeah, he's going to do it to himself.
Yeah, he's the big fish in the small pond right now. But as soon as we merge, other people on other tribes are not going to just take him coming in and trying to call the shots for everybody. He goes from being that fish in a small pond to being a small fish in a big pond as soon as merge happens. And it's like, okay, Kishan might be a little bit more sneaky and strategic and might be able to get people to do the things that he wants to do, whereas Rome is going to come in and rub everybody the wrong way immediately. So let me keep the shield. Even if Kishan and I could work together right now, Kishan is more likely to stab me in the back later, whereas Rome is going to be the biggest shield in the world for me later. And now that Kishan person who did say my name, even if I wasn't in danger when he said it right now, he did say it, and he's sneaky enough to take me out later, whereas Rome is just going to piss everybody off. So,
good points.
I will say, I feel like that has been like, I feel like that has been the popular opinion that I've seen. Like, everything on Twitter that I saw after the episode aired were people calling this like a boss move, like singing her praises for flipping this and like making it happen. So that it's a pretty popular opinion. Kyle, you might be the dissenter here, but you're not the dissenter in life.
That's good to know. It's good to know. Usually it's both.
But yeah, so all of this basically brings us to tribal council, which I feel like, Jeff brought up the puzzle and the poor performance that Rome and Genevieve gave for the puzzle. Saul talked about how Rome would never leave him alone, just followed him around everywhere. There was some talk about emotions and strategy. not really a very exciting tribal council, though. I mean, does anybody have any thoughts before we move on to the vote itself?
Nope.
No? Yeah. Rome played his steal a vote to take away Kishan's power, which is obviously when Teeny and Kishan realized that something was going on here. And basically, yeah, we got 3 votes read out. They were all for Kishan, and that's it. Kishan was the next person voted out of the game. He did whisper on his way out to Genevieve that he trusted her, and I guess Teeny, because he said that he trusted us 3.
Please.
And then we did see Teeny asking Genevieve, like, why did this happen, and that Genevieve would give an explanation later. And that was pretty much the end of the episode. We got the next on. Jeff unveils that there is a brand new Survivor twist coming. And Gabe is apparently told that Tiana threw him under the bus, and that's what we saw from the next on. So I guess we'll see what happened. I also saw it looked like Gada looking very surprised about something. So we'll see. I don't know what it is. Yeah. But I think that's all I've got for the episode. Yeah. Anyone have any other thoughts?
No.
Congratulations, Team Petty, on another win this week.
Oh yeah, let's talk.
Thank you.
About,
Condolences
yeah, I got
to
these
Team
loaded in here.
Borgino on another loss.
What else is new?
Yeah, Team Petty takes the win this week.
Hmm.
47.5 points.
Finally. At the top
Finally,
of the
this
chart.
is 2 in a row.
Oh, I missed
Yeah, you
last
had-
week. So I
you've
didn't
had 2
quite
wins.
notice. My apologies.
I will
It's
say,
okay.
so I've had a rough week, rough season, really. But I did, my season total now for my team is actually higher than Gina's. So I did move into third place. So,
Neck and
My,
neck.
how the mighty have fallen.
Listen, I'm just glad I'm not repeating last season. I have to say I'm feeling good.
You're
feeling
having the
strong.
literal opposite season that you
I
had
know,
last
it's
season.
been great. It's been so nice.
It looks
Yeah.
like I'm on your tail, though.
You are. We're
oh,
neck and
you
neck
are,
right
yeah.
now.
You guys, so yeah, Kyle and Mikey as the top 2. You're only separated by 1 point.
Nice.
Gina and I are in 3rd and 4th place, only separated by 2 points, though. So very good. This is already.
I could
It's a
get
close
you.
race.
This is already so much closer than last season was for everybody.
It's those
episode
bench
totals.
players.
I actually,
Sue.
it's funny. Sue was the top point getter this week, right?
Yes.
But it's an interesting week because I feel like getting the number 1 spot with only 16.5 points is pretty interesting.
This
We've seen
is-
people with a lot more
Yeah.
points, right?
The pre-merge weeks that aren't like that very first week tend to be a pretty low scoring. Sue, she got that idol because she found the advantage, lost the vote, which lost her points, but then gained her vote. Oh my god, gained her vote back within the same episode. Ended up gaining points from that. Plus, she found an idol, so like she just like had a very good points week.
Sure.
Whereas like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, like we've seen points up in the 30s and in the 20s and 30s. So
Yeah.
she had a good week in comparison to everybody else who just had low scoring weeks, especially Kashan. Sorry, Gina.
Yeah, losing me 2.5 points.
Poor
Naggies.
Here is the full season Castaway total. Rome as the top point getter with 62, followed by Gabe with 57 and Sam with 56.5.
I hate that Rome is responsible for putting me on the map.
Right? How annoying. I feel like that happened to you with Banu last year, too.
Yes,
He did,
terrible.
yeah. Top points getter. It's Roman and Sam both get a lot of confessionals, which ups their scores quite
Sure,
considerably.
yeah.
Do you think that says anything about the game itself, like that Rome and Sam are getting so many confessionals? Does that say anything
I'd say
future of the
a
game?
couple of years ago it might. It doesn't necessarily, because you look at someone like Caleb who had a ton of confessionals and then got voted out right at the beginning of merge. It's just a matter of who's telling the story in the most interesting way, I think. And I think they do less of the using, like it's harder to use the confessional count to predict the winner nowadays. Like Kenzie was a good point scorer last year, but she wasn't high in the confessional counts
Okay.
typically.
Especially not to mention there's so much drama surrounding Rome right now. How do you not feature him more, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, especially because he's the only one on his side, really, so he has to be the one that's
Mhm.
explaining his side of the story. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
I can't stand him. Can't stand him. But all right. I'm not going to put up our team graphics because they're out of date. I didn't get to update them, so um, they're all over the place. Well, actually, you know what? I can put up Kyle and Mikey's because
They're the
you guys
same
still
as they
haven't.
started.
Yeah, you still haven't lost anybody. Team Petty, we got Sue, we got Kyle, we got Annika, and we've got Rome.
Oof.
Team Marmon, we've got Tiana, we've got Gabe, we've got Soul, and we got Sam. These are two strong teams.
Solid team,
Yeah. Yeah,
I guess
I'm very happy with this so far. I am a little worried about the Gabe versus Tiana situation that's arising, though.
Mhm.
Oh,
But
that's
I went,
right. Yeah.
but I'll tell you what, I went pretty far with Bruce and Katura, and that was
Yeah.
just as bad, if not worse, from what
Yeah.
we've seen so far. So hopefully it stays okay, and we don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it till after merge.
I'll just put up me and Gina's too, even though they're not up to date. But I lost
All right.
John, I lost TK, but I did gain Caroline. So I've still got Rachel, Caroline, and Sierra.
Oh, John's got the
And,
girls.
Yeah, I'm rocking with the ladies. Johnny's Angels, Johnny's Angels.
Not bad.
These angels.
And
No.
Team Morgino did lose Asia last week,
Mhm.
but gained Andy, who I refuse to take because I don't want that bum on my team.
And also Kashan.
Yeah, we lost Kashan.
Oh, and lost Kashan as well. Sorry, yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Gina and I are down to 3 players then. Mikey and Kyle still with 4 though, right?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations, you guys.
It's a good thing we kept a bench. Otherwise, you guys would both have 2.
Yeah, that would not be too good for us.
Yeah. But all right, I think that's all I got for Survivor 47. Anybody have any other thoughts? Anything they want to say before we get out of here?
I'm good.
I don't think so.
All right, perfect. Well then, what do we have coming up? So this Thursday, this Thursday, I guess we'll figure out the time. Right, the 17th. Yeah, we'll talk offline about the time because we can pretty much do it whenever we want. But this Thursday, October 17th, we'll be talking about the Challenge 40, the most recent episode. And then I guess next week on Monday, we'll be back for another Survivor 47, right? We will confirm all times on our social media, so please follow us at Strat Chat Pod on all the social media platforms, except for Blue Sky, because we are not active there. But yeah, thanks guys for hanging out, and see you next time.